from the outside looking in, everyone's like, oh, I wish I had a business like that. They, the actual ones on the inside, are like, something's got to change. Everyone comes to us for everything and we can't keep up and it's making us resentful and it's painful. How do we fix this? And so I went through the 4 things in the order that they have to be gone through in order to make sure that you're not building yourself a prison. And in order to make sure that you can work less but accomplish more. And that's the goal of these 4 things.
Welcome, everybody, to the Chris Harder Show, where we are making you unapologetic about your pursuit of success, knowing that when good people like you make good money, they can then do great things. My name is Chris Harder, and several times per week, I will bring you epic guests, solo episodes, and every single tool, trick, and skill set you need to grow your business, grow your money mindset, and to grow your wealth to levels that you have never reached before. I've ended up in a unique place in life where I've got the experience, the connections, and all of the secrets that it takes to be successful. And I'm lifting the curtain to reveal it all to you in an effort to help put you in a position of abundance so great that you can then be as generous as possible. So let's lock arms and let's get started.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Chris Harder Show, where today I'm grateful that I just got done wrapping up a mastermind that I was a participant in. I hired a fintech founder. His name is Bobby Castro. He's absolutely amazing. One of the best investments I've ever made. And he sold his company, PHG, for a valuation of multiple billions of dollars. He sold a portion of it, right? So he's a billionaire. And because he comes from the industry that I'm trying to build a business in right now, Frello, my business partner and I, Matt, hired him. And once a year, he brings all of his private clients together for a weekend-long idea share. And it's here in Boca Raton. And I just wrapped it up. And I'm telling you, I am a different man. I've got different priorities, different ideas, a different plan. I feel so good right now. Like, I feel so certain. And I feel like I've got the support and I feel like I've got everything I need after the 2.5 days here. And this is, this is the power of a mastermind. This is why Lori and I put a mastermind for other people, that have $500,000 businesses or, $1 million businesses or $10 million businesses, so that we can kind of do the same thing for them that Bobby and his wife, Sophia, does for me and for Matt. And they're such great mentors in every aspect of life, not just fintech, where they came from. So I'm grateful that they take the time. They don't have to do this. They actually shared their balance sheet with us, like what their liquid net worth is. And trust me, the coaching is not part of their business plan from a financial standpoint. I was blown away. I don't think I've ever seen a balance sheet like that with that much money with an actual person in a room where I'm sitting next to them before, which is pretty cool. But anyhow, I say all that to say they do it because they care. And Lori and I do it because we care. And so if you want to join our mastermind and feel the way I'm feeling right now, all you have to do is hit pause right now real quick and go to chrisharder.me/mastermind. Now remember, your business has to be making more than $500,000 to even apply. And at the time of recording this, we have 4 or 5 spots left, right? We're 87.5% sold out. And we have more offers out to people who have already interviewed than we have spots. So, by the time you listen to this, it might be full. So I want you to go to chrisharder.me/mastermind, click apply. If you can still apply, then there's probably a spot open. You and I will jump on Zoom and see if you're a great fit for one of the last participants for our 2025 Elite Entrepreneur class. All right, guys. So I want to talk about something that I helped a mastermind client with the other day. There's a set of business partners, and I'm going to be very vague here, but there's a set of business partners in our mastermind. They've been in it for a few years in a row now. So I know them and I know their business really well. They're amazing. And when we did a coaching call, they said, hey, we need some help. We just feel like we've worked ourselves into having a job, a really, really big, busy job, even though they have a great big team. Their team is probably in the ballpark of 20 to 30 people right now. And they've got a very big business. They're really killing it. It's the kind of business that everyone wishes they had, right? Except even though from the outside looking in, everyone's like, oh, I wish I had a business like that. They, the actual ones on the inside, are like, something's got to change. Everyone comes to us for everything and we can't keep up and it's making us resentful and it's painful. How do we fix this? And so I went through the 4 things in the order that they have to be gone through in order to make sure that you're not building yourself a prison, in order to make sure that you're not building yourself just a really busy job. And in order to make sure that you can work less but accomplish more. And that's the goal of these 4 things. It's how to work less but accomplish more. Now, those 4 things that you have to get right, and in this order, is people, right? You have to hire the right people. Training and the frequency of training. You have to train them to do the job right. And then there has to be ongoing frequency of training to keep them sharp. Then the third one is process and layers. There's a process to follow, or everyone will come to you with everything. There's layers in reporting. There's layers in the process of how to figure something out, or they're all going to come to you to solve the problem. And then the last one's the toughest for a lot of people. It's culture and reinforcement. Does your company have a culture of, you'll just answer all their questions, you'll just fix everything for them? Or are you reinforcing the fact that, hey, you're the right hire, and I gave you the right training, and there's a correct process to solving this problem. You don't just come to me and expect me to solve it for you. And that's the problem. This is why so many of us wake up with teams and we're like, oh my God, I don't have a company. I just basically gave myself a really big, busy job that makes a lot of money. And it can be really miserable, guys, really miserable. You don't want to end up in that situation because that's not why you started a company to begin with. So if we were to break down each of these things, the people, the training, the process, and the culture, you got to start with the people. You have to make the right hires. And when you know that you don't have the right hires, you have to part ways with them and replace them with someone who is the right hire. I know that's hard to hear. I know that you probably like people or care about people, or you know that there's a family on the other side of that person's paycheck, etc. But at the end of the day, you're not doing them any favors by keeping them around if they are not the right fit and the right performer for that position. They're miserable and feeling insecure in their job. I can guarantee you in it. They're probably scared to come to work. They're probably scared to make mistakes. You're tired of them making mistakes. You're tired of them doing the same wrong thing over and over and over again, or doing something over and over again, but not getting any better results. And in this case, my clients in the mastermind, they were tired of all their people coming to them with the same basic questions over and over again. Can you do this? Can you solve this? Can you help me with this? How do I do this? What should we do in this situation? When these were the very problems that they hired these people to be able to make judgment calls on and fix. So you have to hire the right people, and you have to replace anyone who ends up not being the right person, or you're just going to work yourself into a really busy job because the wrong people won't be able to perform and adhere to the training and adhere to the process and adhere to the culture that you set as a company. So they're just going to keep coming to you. That second layer that you have to get right then is when you have the right people, you have to give them the right training, and you have to give them the right frequency of training. It's not enough to have some kind of great, hey, you're hired onboarding system. Here's how to do the job. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be bold and say a lot of you out there with teams of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, you probably don't even have a proper onboarding, a proper training. You probably just hire people because they already knew how to do social media, or they already knew how to do this, or they already knew how to do that. And you're like, oh, good. You need to do this for me. Here's my company. Here's our goals. All right, and go, right? You don't even have a real proper onboarding where you're bringing them in so that they understand your goals and the company's goals and the company process and the company culture and when to come to you, when not to come to you, et cetera. And so you not only have to have the right training in the beginning to get them off to a good start, but you have to have the right frequency of training. So in this case, I said, hey, you guys need to be having a weekly meeting with your team and using some of these examples where people are coming to you saying, how do I do this? How do I do that? And putting that example on the board in the weekly meeting and saying, okay, everybody, how would you solve this situation? And then people can take a crack at solving it. And then you give them the right answer. And now they know how to handle it when they confront it, if they haven't confronted it in a while. And I said, if you do that every single week in your weekly meeting, work on 1 or 2 things that were real examples from the prior week or two, then that ongoing training is going to remind them when they're about to come to you with this problem, oh, wait, we just went over this 2 weeks ago. I know how to solve this. So you have to have the right training in the beginning and the right frequency of training. So then if you have the right people and they're trained up right, now why would they keep coming to you? Because you don't have the right process and layers. Meaning they're like, okay, I'm an all-star and I know what to do. But every time I come to you, Tommy, that's not their name, so I'm just making that up. Every time I come to you, Tommy, you solve this for me, so I'm just going to keep coming to you. They need to have a hierarchy. First, they try X, Y, and Z to solve the problem on their own. And they have to be able to show you that they tried X, Y, and Z. My brother's great at this. When we have my brother's our COO for our companies, for our personal brands. When we hire new employees, when they come to Nick, and notice they don't even come to me, when they come to Nick and they say, hey, how do we refund this customer's thing? Or how do we process their payment here? Or how do we get them signed into their portal? As long as he's trained them properly in the beginning, he'll go to them and he'll say, please screenshot me where you tried to look it up before you came to me. And at first, it's like, what? What are you talking about? But when he does that a couple times, they now, when they're about to go to Nick with a question, they say, oh, never mind. He's going to ask me to screenshot where I tried to look it up. So then they try to look it up and they're like, oh, there's the answer. Oh, there's the process. Oh, there's how I do it. Right? So you have to have the right process of how they solve things, step A, step B, step C, and then the right process of if they can't still solve it on their own, then who do they go to next? They don't come to me. They go to Nick. And Nick is that filter. Nick is that problem solver for the problems that they can't solve. If they came to me, if they came to Lori, we wouldn't be able to be the coaches or the mentors or the leaders or the podcasters that we have to be, because we wouldn't have any time and energy left. And we would also hate our life because there's so many moving parts going on. So you have to have the right process of how does one solve a problem? And if they can't solve it on their own, what layers do they go to next before they get to you? Because if you allow them to come to you, then you're going to be miserable and you're going to be overwhelmed. And that brings us to the fourth one here, the culture and reinforcement. If you hire the right people and you give them the right training and build the right processes, you're still going to be screwed if you don't reinforce all of this and have a culture of following the right process. And this is where these two clients of mine went wrong. They're such nice people and they want to be such great leaders that even though they hire the right people and they do the right training and they have processes and layers in place, they still answer the question when the person comes directly to them. They still solve the problem when the person comes directly to them. And so it trains the individuals that work for them. Oh, I'm just going to go right to Tommy. I'm just going to go right to Susie because I know they solve this faster than I do. Or I know they solve this faster than my manager does. Or I know that my manager is probably just going to go to them anyway, so I'm going to skip my manager. I'm going to go to these individuals to get a faster answer. The problem is that creates bottlenecks. And so your employees are miserable and you're miserable and your customers are miserable because you will be the bottleneck if you don't reinforce the process and the training and the culture that you set in your company. It's that reinforcement part that's really tough. It's that reinforcement part where you feel kind of like a jerk when you could answer it on the spot, when you could just waive that fee on the spot, when you could do something real quickly to make their life easier, you feel like a jerk saying, well, did you go ask Tommy first? Because he's your next report. He's your manager. And by the way, I know Tommy's going to ask you to show a screenshot where you looked it up first yourself. And they're like, whoa, what a jerk. Why can't you just answer it? Why can't you just waive this fee? Why can't you just, solve this problem? I know that you know how. That's not the point. The point is they will forever come to you directly and create a bottleneck for everybody involved if you don't reinforce the culture and the processes that you set so that they use the training that you gave, knowing that you hired the right people. And that's how that all comes together so that you can work less but accomplish more as a company, and everybody, and I mean everybody, will be better off, everybody will make more money, and everybody will be happier when you adhere to this. Number one, get the right people. Number two, give the right training and the right frequency of training. Number three, build the right processes and layers. And number four, have a culture of reinforcing those things that you just laid out. Guys, this will change your business forever. And I was glad that I was there and available when these business partners were freaking out. Like, we've had enough. This is it. We don't want to do this anymore. And I was able to solve it in like a 40-minute phone call with them. And it made me feel so freaking good. And I know it made them feel good. That's why we have this elite level mastermind. And so again, just a few spots left. Heck, by the time you listen, I don't even know if maybe there's one or two. Now that this is the end of the episode, hit stop and go to chrisharder.me/mastermind and fill out the application right away so we can jump on Zoom, because I'd like to help you in these ways. Again, go to chrisharder.me/mastermind. chrisharder.me/mastermind. Click apply. I can't wait to chat with you on Zoom about your business and your goals. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Love and appreciate you. Thanks for listening. And if you loved this episode and know of someone else who is as successful as they are generous, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world to me if you help me get this cause and this message out to as many listeners as I can. So please, if you liked what you heard, it goes a long way if you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful. And until the next episode, cheers to your success.